Yeah, it's your boy MC Moses. We back at it again. One more time with your man, LeRon L3AD. Come on, we about to get brand new on that, son. Let's hit it.
Tienes que decirme nada, te lo noté en esa mira, carita de santa, pero conmigo tremenda mala. Vamos mami, te reviento.
Hey, yo, my man. Excuse me. I'm trying to do a YouTube. Can you quiet down just a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, okay. So, YouTube, YouTube, we're here in, right. So, excuse me. Hey, I'm trying to, matter of fact, do you actually want to join me in this?
Sure, that sounds dope.
All right.
What is up, guys? This is Erick Grillo on LeRon L3AD's YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching. Please comment, like, subscribe. I'm looking forward to chatting with you all a little bit more on the pod. Stay tuned.
What's up, YouTube? I am here, Thunderbird Canyon, with my man Eric, Tucson, Arizona. Thunder Canyon Brewery. My boy Eric, Tucson, Arizona. Introduce yourself.
Automatic. What's up, guys? My name is Erick Grillo. I'm a local musician here in Tucson, Arizona. And yeah, happy to be here on the pod with LeRon.
All right, guys, so we're gonna enjoy some good food, but he's actually doing a fast. So I kind of want to talk about that first. So what made you want to do this fast?
To be honest, I've always wanted to try fasting because I've heard about fasting specifically for like spiritual reasons, as well as just like health and wellness reasons. You know, there's a lot of, I guess, conversation around fasting in like the health and wellness space. And it's always just been kind of something scary that I didn't want to do because I'm like, oh God, I'm gonna starve. So I kind of just like educated myself over the course of like a week. And it happened because my girlfriend's best friend is like essentially like a holistic medicine practitioner. And she recommended it. So I kind of like meditated on it a little bit, thought about it, did my research. I decided to pull the trigger, man. So it's mostly just to like exercise my discipline, do a nice little detox, as well as like a hormonal reset on my body. Okay. And then also like it definitely is like some form of like meditation for myself as well.
Okay. So with this fast, it's strictly water. Can you do any like black coffees, any teas?
So yes, it's a water fast. There are certain like liquids that are allowed. Like a black coffee, I do enjoy like 2 shots of espresso a day, typically over ice. Or like even like an iced green tea. So like I'll make just green tea and hot water and then I'll cool it. Or you can just drink it hot as well. Something that I do drink 2 or 3 times a day though is I'll squeeze a lime into water and then also I'll use Himalayan salt and I'll dissolve that in the water. Just because that way I keep my electrolytes balanced. Yeah. So I don't like lose my fucking mind. I'm sorry, so I don't lose my mind. Are we allowed to curse on this podcast?
No, we try to keep it. We try to keep it kid friendly.
My bad.
His freaking mind, kids. The kids watching.
So I don't lose my freaking mind. Because yeah, man, your electrolytes, you know, it's a big component to like everything. Yeah. So those are the only liquids that I'm consuming. So technically, I haven't eaten anything since Friday night. It's currently Sunday evening, and I'm gonna be doing this fast until Tuesday morning. So it's a little bit
like
over. It's a little bit over 72 hours, but it's supposed to be a 72-hour fast.
Okay. How have you been feeling so far on it?
The first day was gnarly, if I'm being honest with you. It was like the hunger pain isn't that bad. What's bad is like the fatigue that you start receiving, essentially like from not eating. You start feeling tired, you start feeling like maybe even like, I felt like some muscle soreness, if you will. I'm not gonna say loopy, but definitely like you start feeling it in your mind as well. But I guess once I passed like that first day into the second day, I've been feeling phenomenal all day. The only thing that I am feeling is obviously hunger. I do feel hungry, and it comes in waves. Like, sometimes I feel super freaking hungry. And other times I just feel like, I'm good right now.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
Okay. Now, you're from Tucson?
I was actually born and raised in Miami, Florida. I'm first generation Cuban American. So my parents got to the United States, to Miami when they were teenagers.
Okay.
I was born and raised in Miami Gardens, Florida, literally the same neighborhood as Rick Ross,
Oh,
actually.
okay.
Yeah. And then I moved to Maui, Hawaii in 2017, early 2017. And I lived in Maui, Hawaii until December of 2019. And then I moved here to Tucson. And then the pandemic happened and I've been here ever since.
Which one do you like better, Miami or you like Maui?
I did not have so whenever people hear me say that I lived in Miami, they're like, oh man, that's awesome, you lived in Miami. And they think about all like the glamorous things that Miami like is known for.
Yeah.
I was born and raised in poverty. My family were immigrants. So like I literally remember like, living in a house with like, I don't know, 12 to 14 of us at one point.
Wow.
Like aunts, uncles, cousins, me and my sister, like my parents, obviously, my grandparents, like that sort of thing. So I was raised in poverty. My Miami experience was not the glamorous experience that people know Miami as.
Yeah.
So I never have anything good to say about Miami. Not that I have bad things to say about Miami. I love Miami and I love everybody in Miami. I love all of you very much. It is what made me who I am today, and it gave me that like immigrant hustle, immigrant mentality. It gave me my culture, being amongst like my fellow Cubans, my Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Haitians, Jamaicans, all my Caribbean folk in Miami, like in those rougher parts of Miami. So I'm gonna always say Maui because that was a really good point of my life where like I, made it out of the ghetto, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I was feeling really good at that time in my life. So, I love Miami Gardens to death. I do not have anything good to say about Miami, though, because it was not the lifestyle that I wanted, nor was it the lifestyle that I was, striving for.
Yeah.
So.
Like you said, it's not the lifestyle that is portrayed to us. We see the glitz and the glamour and all that. We don't see that starvation,
Correct.
that poverty, that struggle. Yeah. So the transition from Miami to Hawaii, how did that happen? Like, what brought about that?
So right around, let me see, man. Let me do math right quick. Well, I guess right around like, I'm trying to get a year, the exact year. I want to say like right around 2010. Yeah, right around 2010. I became really good friends with somebody that worked for American Airlines. And I got flight benefits, yo.
Oh, okay.
So I started traveling for the first time like right around when I was 19 years old. And so I started traveling hella cheap. Like when you fly standby, but with those flight benefits, you're basically only paying taxes most of the time. And so I took that time like from 19 to like probably 26 to like travel the entire world as much as I could with friends that also enjoyed these flight benefits, And then I guess once I started seeing different parts of the world and like becoming more cultured, like I literally thought that the world was full of like Caribbean people, like at one point, like dead ass. Like when I went to Hawaii, people were like, where's Cuba? I'm like, what? You don't know where Cuba is? Mm-hmm. So it's like, once I started seeing like how different, how cultured and like all the awesome things of the world, I started thinking to myself like, man, like I'm more than Miami Gardens. I'm bigger than this. Like I need to get out there and I need to leave my hometown. So I was really thinking to myself like, I don't know if you guys have ever heard the term like crabs in a barrel.
Definitely.
Okay,
yes.
So it's like that. When you were like born and raised like in poverty or like in that sort of like immigrant mindset or like in like a poor neighborhood, you do get that crabs in a barrel vibe where you feel like you'll never leave that neighborhood. You'll never leave the lifestyle that you're living. And so I recognized that and I was like, I need to get as far from this as possible so that I can really develop myself as a man, as a human being, and just, I guess, be successful, as it pertains to what my definition of success is. Okay. And so at the time, I had traveled a lot of places, and I had 3 places in mind that I wanted to live in that were all very different. Maui, Hawaii, San Francisco Bay Area, and New York City. I tried to move to all 3 of these places. I actively started trying to get a lease, get a job, all of the above. And Maui was like literally like a landslide. Like as soon as I tried, everything went. And it was just like, oh shit, I guess I'm moving to Maui. Mm-hmm. And San Francisco, New York City was not like that. There was like resistance. So it was like 2 months. In a matter of 2 months, I literally sold everything that I owned, which was literally nothing. I had a rebuilt Honda, okay? I couldn't even afford to buy an actual car, bro. I had to get a rebuilt title Honda Civic. And I was living in what we know in Miami, as like us Miami Cubans know, as an efficiency. Have you guys heard of this term, efficiency?
I've heard, yeah, efficiency, yeah.
Well, in Miami, what they refer to as an efficiency is like basically like smaller than a studio apartment.
Wow.
So what it is they get like a house, okay? Let's say it's a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom house, and they make it like a 4, 5, 6-bedroom.
Wow.
Right? And then a bunch of immigrants, undocumented workers even, dare I say, live in these places in a way to like pursue the American dream.
Okay. Okay.
You know, obviously I was born in the United States, so I wasn't an immigrant, but I guess, yeah, that's the lifestyle that I was born into because of, you know, my family. And so I never thought that I was gonna leave that. I couldn't afford anything else, as a matter of fact. So I was living in an efficiency in Miami Gardens, particularly off of 186 and 57. And I was just like, I'm out of this place. I'm selling my car, which is the only thing I actually owned. And I'm just packing all my clothes, selling my furniture, packing my guitars, my instruments, and I'm going to Maui, Hawaii. I got a job in Maui, Hawaii. I got a lease in Maui, Hawaii. This is it. Like sink or swim type thing, you know? And that's how it happened, bro.
What'd you do? You say you got a job. What'd you do in Maui?
So when I first got, so I guess it's a long story, but when I first got there, my first job opportunity that I got was actually selling timeshares. Which,
okay.
No offense to anybody that sells timeshares, my personal experience, and for me, it's not for me. It's definitely like soul sucking. I probably did that for 2 weeks. And then since I was on the island already, I was shopping around for like a different job if I could.
Okay.
And I actually ended up getting a job for Lululemon.
Oh, okay.
So I was selling like yoga pants at Lululemon. And honestly, like, Lululemon is a phenomenal brand to work for. Phenomenal. They treat their employees amazing. Their clothing is amazing too, and you get like amazing discounts on them. It was the perfect place for me to land and get paid. They pay very well for like entry-level positions, probably because it's a Canadian brand. They do really good benefits as well. So I was able to like essentially work at Lululemon to like, you know, pay the bills and what have you. But before I was a musician, I've only been pursuing music for about it's gonna be 2 years in August. It's gonna be 2 years in August.
Wow, it's gonna be 2 years in August.
Correct. So I've only been pursuing music for like close to 2 years. I've always been a musician my whole life. I just never thought it was a viable career option because of the way that I was raised. But at the time I was a personal trainer in Miami, right? So I moved to Maui, got that job at Lululemon, used that Lululemon network to establish a personal training business, and then eventually did essentially like leave Lululemon to just do personal training.
Okay. Okay.
So that's what I was doing in Maui.
Okay. That's actually smart
Snap, here
because
comes the food.
That's actually smart because most clientele at Lululemon is people who do work out.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was actually smart to build. It had definitely helped you build that.
Yeah,
that
honestly,
personal
it
training.
really did snowball into something.
Yeah.
It really did snowball. It was like probably 6 months that I worked at Lululemon.
Okay.
And I don't know. I always say it, and people must get sick and tired of me saying it. But like, it's different. It's different. Like when you have that like the immigrant hustle mentality, bro, where it's just like, yo, like sink or swim, do or die. Like my goal was to get that business going, that personal training business going on Maui. And in a matter of 6 months, through the Lululemon network, I was able to achieve that essentially.
Okay. So the transition from Hawaii to Tucson, how'd you land out here?
So one of my best friends is Kevin Anderson. He is the owner of Pursuit Fitness off of the I-10 and Orange Grove. I've known him. How many years have I known Kevin now? That's crazy. Probably known him for like close to a decade now.
So you met him out in Miami?
Correct. I met him through Instagram essentially.
Okay.
So him and my best friend Martin connected on Instagram, and then Martin was like, yo, you gotta meet this guy Kev. And then we connected on Instagram, and we were like in a group chat for like the longest time together, just like shooting this shit, talking to each other every single day. Sorry, I cussed again. talking to each other every single day. And then eventually he did come out to Miami and visit. And I only shared like a meal with him when he was out here, but we stayed in contact through all that time. And then he came and visited in Maui, and I hosted him as well. We spent a lot more time together in Maui. And then when I was doing my personal training thing in Maui, I became really good friends with a gym owner out there. And at the time, he had one location in Napili, which is like on the west side, but more closer going north, if you will. And he essentially, through my collaborative work with him, we ended up opening up a gym in Lahaina proper, which is like West Maui proper. And I opened that gym with him. It's called The Block Lahaina. And I was running that gym, and I ran their entire group fitness, like, I guess, department, if you will. And I was doing my personal training at that time. So then Kevin saw all of this happen live through Instagram. And Kevin has always wanted to open a gym. So he basically, at that time, I was trying to open up another gym that was around like mixed martial arts training, and we got shot down by the investors. I got a little bit upset and like demotivated about it, and I'd been calling Kevin and talking about it. And Kevin basically was like, bro, just move to Tucson and let's open a gym. And I said, yeah, bet. You want to open a gym? Let's go. Let's open a gym. And he gave me an offer that I couldn't refuse as far as like money goes. And we sorted that out. And I came and I helped run Pursue Fitness's group fitness program, as well as my own personal training, just like I did at the Block in Lahaina. And the pandemic happened immediately after I moved here. Yeah, so I moved here December 8th of 2019, and we ended up opening up Pursue Fitness March 1st of 2020. And then the pandemic happened. Yeah. March 18th, the lockdown happened. The gym is still doing amazingly. We never went bad, you know. We always were, I guess, for lack of a better word, staying afloat. And we ended up doing phenomenally, you know. Even in 2020, thanks to our members. So that was awesome. That was what got me out here to Tucson. At the time, I got in a relationship with another personal trainer, and she was working out at Pursue Fitness as well. But something happened at a gathering that we had where they were like, I had all my guitars up, and they were like, bro, do you even play guitar? And I was like, yeah, I'm actually a phenomenal guitarist and singer, you know? And they're like, Cap, go sing right now. Sing something right now. I ended up singing Mirrors by Justin Timberlake.
Oh, okay.
And everybody was just like, jaw dropped, including my girlfriend at the time. She didn't even know that I could sing like that, you know? And honestly, we ended very amicably, that relationship, so there was never any bad blood. But as we were ending, like one of the things that she left off with, and one of the things she was telling me ever since she heard me sing is like, you're not a personal trainer, you are a musician. You need to do music. You need to do music. And as a matter of fact, you know, she gave me a nice parting gift when we did part ways to help me start that career, which is like she bought me some like music equipment essentially, you know? Like my PA system right now.
Okay.
And it was just like, hey man, like she was like, this is for you. I want you to like go all in. Okay. And I was like, well, damn, I guess we're gonna go all in.
Okay.
And so I took that same hustle mentality that I took into personal training and moving to Maui and all that. September, August of 2021, I told myself, I am going to be a full-time musician. And that's on period. And I got my first gig in August at the Sands Club. Then after that, I got a gig at Borderlands. Then after that, I got a gig at Charro Steak in Del Rey, which you can probably see the sign from here. And then everything really snowballed, man. By March of 2022, I was a full-time musician, and I left personal training entirely.
Wow.
Yeah. So I guess it's been about a year that I've been a full-time musician, but it's been about a year and a half or something like that. A little bit more than a year and a half that I've started pursuing music.
Okay. Okay. Now, so growing up, like, did you have any musical inspirations? How was it growing up?
Yeah, man. I get this question a lot. Being like first generation Cuban American, the first music that I ever heard was like the music that my parents and my aunts and uncles and like, you know, my older cousins and my older sister would play. So like, obviously right off the bat, it's like Caribbean artists, Latin artists. So Celia Cruz, you know, Marco Antonio Solis, Juan Luis Guerra, Aventura, Romeo Santos, Mark Anthony, you know. Right off the bat, like that was like the bread and butter of like the music that was being played in my house, like as a child, you know. And I remember, I think my biggest memories of like recognizing that I could sing was Charly Sa and Luis Miguel, which is a Colombian and a Mexican artist. And my mom just being obsessed with like telling everybody like, oh, listen to Eric sing this song, you know? And I was a child. I was in the single digits of age. I feel like I remember being in a car seat, as a matter of fact, singing these songs. And yeah, those were like my first influences, so to speak. And then like my sister is a massive influence to me. I oftentimes say that I downloaded my personality from my sister. And when she started attending school, she learned English, and then she brought English home, and I learned English. So by the time that I was like in kindergarten or first grade, like I was already pretty quick with my English, because she was getting all that American culture from school, like. And then because of the fact that I was born and raised in Miami Gardens, predominantly a black neighborhood, she started bringing like R&B and like soul music from school into the house. So now I'm listening to like TLC, I'm listening to Boyz II Men, you know?
Yeah.
So then I start getting this like, you know, sancocho, this like, what do they call it? Like a jambalaya, if you will, like a nice mixture of all these flavors. So I got the Caribbean music. I also got like R&B, soul, and then eventually my Aunt Denise started dating this guy that was a guitarist, and this was like when I was 9 years old, I think. And this is gonna sound hilarious, but on God, I saw how this guy was swooning my aunt, okay? And I was like, yo, I need to learn how to play guitar so I can get chicks. At 9 years old, bro. At 9 years old, I was like, yo, I need to learn how to play guitar because I want to get chicks. Like, this guy's pulling my aunt right now. It's crazy. And I got in his ear about it, and he convinced my parents to buy me my first guitar, Ibanez SZ720. And that's when I started playing guitar. And then when I started playing guitar, that's like when right around the time where like Hybrid Theory came out. And like Linkin Park started making a lot of noise with like the rock and hip hop mix.
Love Linkin Park.
Hell yeah. So then I started learning how to play Linkin Park's music, and that's how I learned how to play guitar because my parents didn't pay for lessons.
So you taught yourself?
I'm self-taught. Yes, I'm self-taught on the guitar. Obviously, what is that? Like once the internet hit.
I was gonna say this is an internet time. You couldn't YouTube it. This is
exactly. Once the internet hit, the game changed. But like, you know. When I was 9 years old, it was 2000. So like, although I think the internet didn't really hit full stride until like 2006 or something, right?
Yeah.
So I think the internet came out like probably like 96, 97, but it didn't start hitting like full stride until like 2006.
Yeah.
Where we had things like Google, for example.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So the way that I would do it is I would just listen to the Hybrid Theory, and I was like, you know, Paper Cut, for example, that little like riff in the beginning, that just like learning how to play that, and then learning how to play the other songs, and then eventually that starts snowballing into like the punk rock and emo phase of music, and so then I started listening to like My Chemical Romance, Story of the Year, but then very quickly as I get into the community of other musicians in school, I noticed that these kids, the more elevated people, the more elevated musicians, they're not listening to mainstream music. They're listening to like some very like meta, for lack of better words, like guitarists and things like that. So then once I start seeing that, okay, this is kind of just like bread and butter. It's not like the meat and potatoes of guitaring. Then I start diving into, you know, B.B. King, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jimi Hendrix, Clapton, Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, and then that is like, whoa, super overwhelming for me, you know, because it's like these people are like in the stratosphere of guitarists.
Yeah.
And I didn't necessarily ever want to be a guitarist for guitarists, you know?
Yeah.
I always wanted to be a guitarist as like a songwriter more than anything. And so then Room for Squares comes out, John Mayer's debut album, and I hear Neon on the 5th track on the album, if I'm not mistaken, and he's doing this crazy like finger picking, slapping shit, finger picking, slapping style, if you will. And he's got these amazing blues style solos on the tracks. And I'm like, damn, this guy sounds like he did listen to like B.B. King and Stevie Ray Vaughan and Hendrix. And he emulated that and made himself a singer-songwriter on the back of like these guitar legends, if you will.
Yeah.
And so then, yeah, I went from there and kind of developed my sound from that. Those are everyone that I just named are like all my earliest influences. Now, like more modernly, more recently, the music that I've been listening to is mostly R&B, Latin, and Afrobeat, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
Particularly like Taiki, Aya Nakamura as it pertains to like Afrobeat, that style. And then as it pertains to Latin music, I do like the more Latin R&B style artists like Dalex, like Lenny Tavares. You can't ignore artists like Bad Bunny because he's the #1 artist for like 3 years. But it's not necessarily something that I emulate or that I strive to be like because it's just not my style. I absolutely love an artist like Bad Bunny. Or even other like Latin trap artists, reggaeton artists like Jay Cortez or even Mike Towers, Rauw Alejandro, Anuel. But it's just my style is more R&B. And then as it pertains to like English music, Giveon, Daniel Caesar, like that's been my vibe a lot as it pertains to like R&B and what have you. In the most recent years, I guess is what I'm saying.
Okay, perfect. All right, guys. So this is part 1, chilling with Eric. Join us for part 2. Anything you want to say to the people before we head on up?
No, honestly, just thanks for listening, guys. And look me up on Spotify, Erick Grillo. The way you spell my name is E-R-I-C-K. So I have both a C and a K in my name. And then Grillo is Spanish. If you spell it in English, it's Grillo, but it's Grillo. And that's my Instagram, that's my Spotify. And I have 2 songs on Spotify right now, and more coming soon.
All right. We'll chop it with Eric on the next one, and we'll catch you on the next one. We out here. We outside, babe.
We outside.
Grillo. No tienes que decirme nada, te lo noté en esa mira, carita de santa, pero conmigo.